November 21st, 2018, NHL News and Notes. Welcome. This is the board. Let's get to it. Pittsburgh Penguins. Crosby is back from injury versus the Dallas Stars tonight. If you remember, he was injured against the New Jersey Devils with an upper body injury, and he missed 3 games. It was not a concussion, apparently. That's been confirmed, so that's good news. But we still don't know exactly what it is. In those 3 games, they lost. They lost in overtime to Buffalo, 5-4. They were winning 4-1 at one point in that game. They also lost 6-4 to Ottawa, and they also lost 4-3 to Tampa, a game in which they were leading 2-0 at one point. So, I mean, they weren't doing particularly well before Crosby got injured. The problems had started before then, but it definitely helps to get him back because God knows Jim Rutherford's head is about to implode and just create a black hole in the space-time continuum. Something's got to happen there. I mean, he's already traded Tanner Pearson or Carl Hagelin to LA for Tanner Pearson. I mean, those are fringe players, and it looks like he'll continue to tinker with fringe players, outside of his core of, Malkin, Crosby, Kessel, Letang. And there's a few, injuries to the blue line, that kind of thing. But I said something about Sullivan possibly being on the chopping block, being the first one in the East. Him and Bugner from Florida. But I think maybe because of Sullivan's last couple of cups, maybe he's bought himself at least the rest of this year. If next year ends up being the same way, because the core is getting older, his patience may run out soon. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. And if maybe he decides to trade, like maybe Kessel, maybe that's a possibility. But he's been a good player for them. I mean, he has been coughing up a lot of pucks in the neutral zone. I mean, Pittsburgh in general has been coughing up a lot of pucks lately, and there's just they have no fight along the boards. They don't win any of the battles. So, anyways, next piece of business: Vancouver Canucks, 31-year-old goalie backup Backman is being sent back to the AHL after one game. He played one game against Minnesota. And he let in 6 goals on 29 shots. Ouch. In somewhat of his defense, I didn't see in the game. I didn't see the kind of shots he let in. But Vancouver just came off a huge road trip, and then they faced Minnesota, and now they're back on another 3-game road trip. But they do get back Anders Nielsen from a fractured finger, so that is good news. And apparently Nielsen won't be playing tonight. It'll be Markstrom who'll be in that. Nielsen will be on the bench though, and Edler won't be back yet, but he could be back sometime on this 3-game road trip. I hear he's traveling with the team. Next bit of business: the Florida Panthers. 25-year-old Vincent Trocheck. That's the video you've been seeing lately of Florida versus Ottawa, in which Trocheck, during a play along the boards, his leg bent the other way. It looked ugly. We didn't know what exactly it was, but he sort of screamed out in pain, and it looked he was stretchered off, etc. Apparently it was a fracture in his ankle. He had surgery on it already, and he's out indefinitely. I mean, I know I was like, is this guy going to come back at all? I mean, he is young enough but that kind of an injury too. But he's actually, the GM has come out, and Talon has said that he expects him back this season. So that's great news if you're a Florida fan. I know they're trying to make the playoffs. I mean, that team should be making the playoffs, but they've had another disappointing start so far. Luongo has been back for the last 4 or so games. He's looked lately in the last 1 or 2. He's looked a little bit shaky though. So they did. Trocheck, by the way, had 3 goals and 14 points in 18 games with Florida. His face-off rate was 53.9%, and the Panthers have recalled Dennis Maglin, from from their AHL affiliate, the Springfield Thunderbirds, to replace him. I don't know if he'll literally replace him on that line. I think McGinn from the third line may be bumped up, or maybe Bustad, who started off as a center, natural center, he might be moved into that position. So we'll see what happens in today's game, because they play today. Almost everybody in the league plays today. And that's the nice segue, because there's 14 games on. 14! It's crazy. I think, though, I listed the games, who exactly was playing yesterday on my news and notes board, or on my Oilers Sharks review, because they were the only team playing yesterday. And I listed who was playing, and I sort of briefly went over. But I listed these three teams in particular, because these are the three most, I think, interesting ones to keep an eye on tonight. I mean, I'll definitely be watching the Toronto-Carolina game, and, there'll be a lot of Nylander talk in that one, because, one of the most rumored teams to have something that Toronto wants, or because they have an overflux of defensemen, is Carolina, blah, 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 blah. But I'll also be watching a lot of other games as well, as many as I can. A lot of them, unfortunately, overlap, because they all start at 4, and the last one starts at 7:30. And in any case, Dallas versus Pittsburgh. I'm really interested to see this game, because Dallas is sort of hanging on to one of those last playoff spots right now. I know it's early in the season, we're talking playoff, but in terms of the standings, and they've been a bit inconsistent, but they've been slowly getting better. They're still missing their top defenseman, and whose name always eludes me. I want to say Klinberg. You can correct me if I'm wrong. But they've been nudging forward. I know Bishop is now out of the lineup. I can't remember how long he's out for. I don't think it's. I think it's just muscle soreness or something. I don't think he'll be out that long. Hudobin is going to get the start, and he's got really good numbers. Although he's 3-3 or something, he's got really good goals against and a save percentage. So we'll see what happens there. Pittsburgh, though, is the one to keep an eye on, because of all the reasons I just mentioned in the other news. Because Crosby's back. And they desperately need a win. Rutherford. That's black hole. Yeah. Next game that looks really good on tonight will be Winnipeg Jets versus the Calgary Flames. The Winnipeg has been playing really well lately. They look like they're really starting to run on all cylinders. Laine, had a hat trick against Vancouver the other day. He looks like he's getting his game going. He looks like he might be on pace for 50 goals still. And he scored 40, of course, the past 2 seasons. And their power play is amazing. Their power play is the best in the league right now. It's unstoppable by quite a margin too. And then Calgary is interesting because the whole goalie debate there. Calgary's been playing well of late. They've got a half decent record, and the goalie debate between Riddick and Mike Smith is what I mean. Riddick has played quite well. He's got good numbers. Mike Smith has not. He's got a poopy record. And although Riddick's played a little more than half the games that Smith has, it looks like they're going to run with him for the next little while and see how that takes him. And I think one of the more interesting things too is, what if Calgary loses this game with Riddick in net? I know it depends on how they do exactly, but will they give him another start right after? Will they give him another opportunity right after that, right away? Or will they go back with Smith again? If it's not a back-to-back, that is. So that is something to sort of keep an eye on, see what happens there. The other game I'm really looking forward to tonight is the Vancouver Canucks versus the Anaheim Ducks. This is because, from Vancouver's perspective, they've been on quite a bit of a little bit of a slide lately. They had a huge road trip where they lost 5 or 6 games, and then they came home for one or 2 games, and they've lost those or lost that one. I want to say, who did they lose against? They lost against Winnipeg, and I want to say they also played Minnesota at home. In any case, they haven't been. I believe Besser is still hurt. Edler isn't going to play this game, but he'll be back soon. And they're on the road again after only like 1 or 2 games at home. So Anaheim, I'm interested in seeing because Carlisle's on the hot seat. I mean, you have to give him a little leeway because Anaheim's been the walking wounded all season long so far. From their forwards to their half their defense or most of their defense now. Gibson has cooled off a bit, although he's still playing well, but they're giving up way too many shots a game. They looked half decent against Toronto not too long ago, but yeah. So it'll be interesting to see who breaks here, and if Anaheim loses this game, does Murray finally pull plug on his buddy Carlisle? Because it seems to be quite a theme out in the West lately. Heads are flying. Yeah. In any case, thanks so much for watching. Please like this video. If you liked it, please just smash that subscribe button. If you haven't already, I just started about a month ago. I only have about 25 subscribers. It'd be really nice to pick that up a bit. I will not be doing my game review tonight. I'll be reviewing one game, which is the Toronto versus Carolina game. The reason being because I work in the film industry and I have to work very early tomorrow morning, and it's quite a drive. And by the time I do the boards and everything on all 14 games, my upload speed isn't great. It takes quite a while to do that. I'll be lucky if I get any sleep at all before I have to drive a distance to go out to work, and it's just so I'm just going to review the one game. I'm sorry to everyone else. I'm just doing the Toronto Carolina game. I apologize. In any case, I'm blabbering now. So if you have any hockey geek friends, by the way, please don't feel shy about sharing. Thanks again, and I'll see you soon.